Very often, I find myself thinking about the current state of the world and where we're going with it. And today, I just wanted to speak on the currently incredibly volatile political environment that we are in currently, in America specifically. I believe that we are in a state of hysteria, that a lot of people are scared. And while you're right to be scared, a lot of people are scared for the wrong reasons. I mean, we've got a dude that does gay news saying that the Supreme Court apparently very recently instilled a law allowing businesses to turn away gay people for being gay, even though that was 2 years ago that happened. I mean, it doesn't make it any more right, but it's misinformation regardless that it was recent when in reality it wasn't. And the reason people like this do that is because they want to, say bad things about a certain politician. In this case, it would be Trump, because obviously, if the Supreme Court overturned that, if the Supreme Court made that decision in Trump's administration, then Trump's to blame, right? But that's not necessarily the case because it was made in 2023 when Biden was in office. So, yeah. Another thing is a lot of people are worried about like immigration and stuff like that. And the thing is, honestly, yes, you should be worried because ICE here in particular is incredibly prejudiced. It's honestly ridiculous. It's horrible because only Hispanic people are really being targeted. I'm not really seeing anything of other immigrants, such as like Indian immigrants, Turkish immigrants, Russian immigrants, Ukrainian immigrants. I mean, there's so many other types of immigrants coming into this country, but obviously, I guess a larger, I mean, a large portion of them are Hispanic people, and I guess it would make a lot of sense that a lot of Hispanic people are getting deported. But what becomes the problem is that ICE is specifically targeting Hispanic people, which is ridiculous because, we're not the only ones that are coming in here illegally. Sure, we're probably a majority of them, but we're not the only ones. And if you're pulling somebody over, like stopping or detaining somebody because they're speaking Spanish, and that's just a prejudiced decision, it's a ridiculous decision as well. And I think it's stupid. And I think that we need to just combat this, man. Like, we gotta really sit down and put on our thinking caps and think, how can we prevent this from happening in the future? How can we move forward as a society without all this prejudice? Because at the end of the day, it boils down to prejudice. And people will mistaken prejudice for racism, but I am not. It's not only racism, it's also class prejudice. It's also prejudice of like education prejudice. There's like so many different types of prejudice. Racism is just a small part of prejudice, dude. And at the end of the day, all these problems that we have, they stem from prejudice, dude, and it sucks, you know. And to fall back on the gay thing, it's like, and it's probably mostly Christian businesses doing it as well, which is wrong because Jesus sat down with tax collectors. Jesus sat down with sinners. Like he sat down with murderers. He sat down with probably rapists. You name it. Like he sat down with that person and he's talked to them and he's forgiven them. And all sins are equal in the eyes of the Lord, essentially. So no matter what you did, I mean, like you still sinned, right? And you still did that bad thing, and you have a chance to redeem yourself. So when I see people like turning people away because they did something bad in the past, it's not biblical. It's not right because Jesus taught us otherwise. He taught us to love our neighbor as we love ourselves, and that includes our enemies, you know? And we have to love our enemies, man, because otherwise how does this world heal? It's It's crazy. I mean, like, and another thing too, like with the Israel-Palestine war or the Russia-Ukraine war, like, A lot of people have a dog in this fight, but the reality of it is you shouldn't have one in this fight. You should be on the side of peace. You should be on the side of, hey, people should just stop dying. People should stop killing each other for seemingly unreasonable reasons. I mean, like with the Israel Palestine, it comes down to religion. Like Islam and Judaism at their core are literally the same thing. All Abrahamic religions at their core are essentially the same thing. We believe in the same God and pretty much the same laws. And it's ridiculous that we're fighting over these laws, when we should be loving on each other and caring for each other and supporting each other during these trying times. And it's to a point where, like, how do we move forward as a society when we can't even care for each other? The only way we move forward is by building each other up and supporting each other. And that's where I stand on situations like that. Like, people need to just open their eyes and realize that there's so many better ways to handle these things. There's so many pressing issues that can be solved by just not going at people's throats, because right now it's like everyone's grabbing at throats, man. Like, there's literally people, like, there's Christians going after gay people, there's gay people going after Christians, there's Muslims going up against any American, or Americans in specific going after Muslim people. It's it's ridiculous. We need to stop this. We need to stop going at people's throats when we don't even know what we're talking about, because let's be real, like 90% of the people, when they see something on TV or when they see something in the news, they're like, "Oh my god, that's so bad. What will I ever do?" And and the reality of it is, oh, they don't even look into the story behind what happened, or they don't even look into anything. They just look at that thing, then they become prejudiced because of that thing, and then they'll hold that prejudice. And then, for example, let's say you were there on the day of 9/11 when the 9/11 attacks happened, and then you find out that Al Qaeda did it, right? Now you bear a prejudice towards Muslim people because Al Qaeda identifies as a Muslim group. So now you hold prejudice towards Muslim people as a result. Where if you looked way deeper into it, then you would know that Al Qaeda has done attacks like this before, and they have had activities like this before. And on the greater spectrum of things, like, they don't really follow Islamic law. And actual, like, real Islamic people, real Muslim people wouldn't subject themselves, like, they won't associate themselves with these groups. They don't endorse the actions of these groups. Like, real Muslims will say, "Hey, this is wrong. We don't agree with this, what they're doing." And instead of looking into that and saying, "Hey, this is wrong," you just say, "Oh, Muslim people are bad and they do these bad things, so we should hate on all Muslims." Or same thing with same thing with, like, I'm trying to think of another example. Same thing with Hispanic people. Like, oh, they're stealing our jobs, they're coming into this country legally, this, that, and the other. And then you realize that a lot of them come here legally. A lot of them do the right A lot of undocumented immigrants pay taxes, so there's not like they're coming in here and actively, like, taking from us. Like, we are, like, undocumented immigrants are paying taxes. Like, and if they were truly out to get us, if they were truly up to nefarious activities, then they wouldn't be paying those taxes. Because why would you pay taxes to some why would you make yourself known to the government if you were up to nefarious activities? Why would you pay those taxes? So, at the end of the day, prejudice is just killing this world, man, and I really wish that we could do better. And, like, we just gotta, and in this day and age, like, we just gotta show each other love and say, like, "Hey, like, let's just get through this together, man, because it's gonna be a long road." And, we gotta just have our arms open to support people, because that's what we should be doing. We should be doing that. We should have our arms open and we should embrace anybody who needs it, because that's what we're supposed to do. That is what Jesus taught us to do. And I hope that if you can take one lesson from this, it's that be there to support the people you care about, or support anybody who needs it. Because if you don't, then are you any better than the people that you're prejudiced against, for example? like just look out for each other, man, because you don't know what's gonna happen and you don't know when you're gonna need the help. I mean, if you're in a position where you can give a lot of help and you don't, and then one day you lose it all, who's gonna help you? You know? No one, because you never helped anybody. But if you help people while you have everything, then it's definitely it's definitely gonna sway public opinion, I guess. The point is just help people, man. Bless people when you can, support people when you can. Stop being so prejudiced. Stop stop listening to the first, like, just sit down and talk if you have to, and just really think about things and look into things instead of just taking for what it is on the surface, because you can't even trust that anymore. And I just want to leave you with that. So, thank you for listening to my little yap session. I hope that you take away something from this. Um like and subscribe. Follow my Instagram, and as always, just stay blessed.